to Tiger Woods, his family, and his children right now. So on today's show, in the centre pot, the centre of the stadium, the centre, the cauldron, we will have an official that has officiated at the highest level. Welcome on to today's show, Lee Probert, all the way from Europe, part of the Par 4 project. And Lee, welcome to the show.
Richie, good to see you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, that's brilliant, mate. I had a little bit, you know me, mate, a little bit of technology issues going off. So I do apologise. What's the weather like where you are, mate? I know it's a generalised question. What's it like?
Don't you worry about the weather. I've trained for 3 years as a VAR. I can help you with that. This is technology is best. This is VAR. This is just perfect.
Well, that's all right, mate. Apart from, you know, the fossil face on here, mate, and the flag going up, the whistle going off. So we managed to fix it. Lee, hey, cheers, mate. Thanks for getting on the show. I know you're super busy. What are you currently up to right now? I know we've had the COVID and stuff, and I know you are busy. So what are you up to right now, mate?
Yeah, things a little bit, Richie, which is great. I mean, the roadmap from the UK government is hopefully then allowing us to sort of get back to some sort of normality. So yeah, we're fingers crossed. But at the minute, we're lucky enough to be looking after Premier League and EFL football teams and rugby teams around UK, offering training venues in Europe. So as soon as we're allowed to start travelling, and what with pre-season just around the corner, then I'm sure the teams will be wanting to get away to some different destinations instead of just their normal training grounds that they've been to. So yeah, we're good, mate, to be honest. We're just, like I say, with everybody stuck in with COVID, and it has been a bit of a tough time for everybody, mentally, physically, not being able to just do the normal things. So
right,
it's let's just hope there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, yeah, there's always going to be that, Lee. I think there's always hope, right? I mean, I've got a few technical glitches here. We had a foot of snow here yesterday, so I think I lost a couple of pigeons on the internet service, mate. So we'll see if we can get through this, and you don't give me an early bath, mate. So hey, you're telling everyone that, you know, you're working with these teams. What sort of clubs you're working with to locate them for the, you know, the training facilities and you know, the practice methods? Is it pre-season? You know, is it through the season? Is it in that break? What's that bit look like, Lee? How do you work with those teams?
Most of it, Richie, is pre-season. Last year we didn't have a pre-season. What with COVID, right. So teams weren't able to get away, and it's just a change of scenery, and it's a different environment. A lot of teams want to go to Europe, mainland Europe. So we have Austria, Germany for those that want to train in the quiet surrounds of mountains, down into the Mediterranean in Spain and Portugal, where they can get that warmer weather. So it all depends what the managers and the club want. So what we try and do is find good quality venues, 4 or 5 star quality venues with fantastic pitches, where the players can go train hard and just be ready for the long season ahead. And like I say, we're quite lucky to work with some European teams because they have winter breaks in January, and they like to have a bit of warm weather in January. So Spain and Portugal is always a nice destination, as well as UAE as well, which we've got Dubai. We've got some beautiful venues in Dubai. So yeah, I mean, it's a wide variety for all professional sports teams. That's from rugby to football, even the cricket side of stuff. We can host some cricket teams with some venues down there. So that one there you're just looking at, that's our venue in Tenerife. I mean, that's T3. I mean, that's just got everything you want right on the coast. Not a bad little venue, that one. That's our national home of the FA. That's our St George's Park.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I train there every 2 weeks. When I was as a professional referee, that's the home of where PGMOL have their training things. That's where the England national team train, and that is state of the art, fantastic venue. That one, Richie, it's really, really nice.
Fabulous. Do they take any vets teams, mate? Because I'm looking at, getting the old boots on, mate. Any veterans training, mate.
To be honest, if we are taking vets teams, I might be able to referee then, because I can't run anymore like I used to be able to. What with my injury, so it's, as long as it's walking football or vets teams, I should be all right.
Yeah, I might be all right. I don't do overlaps anymore, mate. So I'll be all right. And I tell you what, mate, I don't think I'll ever get offside. So we'll be okay. Hey, all this, Lee, mate, is under the Par 4 Sports. Organisation, the Par 4 Sports, project work. Does it integrate the officials as well, my friend, on that part of their education? Because I know you want to do a little bit of give back from your experiences of refereeing, which we'll touch on later, mate.
Yeah, it's strange you say that, Richie, because I always want to give something back. I just love getting the boots out. I love getting a tracksuit back on, and I love that coaching side of stuff. And I just wish that I could have a chance of getting back into that if it was possible in the refereeing world, wherever that might be, in UK, around the world, wherever it might be. But it is that opportunity. And like you say, funny you say, we were going to take 40 young referees from the UK to Spain last year. We offered level 7 to level 4, which is grassroots, really, grassroots referees, a chance to come to Spain. But due to COVID, we had to change it, and we went to St George's Park. We were lucky to jump into a sort of a bubble and a break that St George's Park allowed us to go. And what I wanted to do was offer the young referees an opportunity to understand what it was like for me as a full-time referee, for training, education, strength and conditioning, nutrition, mental side of stuff, staying strong, how to make a decision, if it's a wrong decision, right decision, whatever it might be, part of that decision, because your next one's just as important. So yeah, we're also now looking at the Par 4 Sports Foundation that we're looking at trying to get together, where we can get young referees training with us, come with us, because I believe there's a spinal cord, like in everything. If you have a good sound knowledge of the laws of the game, you understand positioning and movement, recognition of challenges and offences, it's no different from top to bottom. It just becomes a little bit harder and a bit more scrutiny at the top. So we just went through different factors, and we did a lot of classroom based stuff. We did a lot of work on the pitch. We got on making decisions on a pitch, making them to get an angle, to view stuff, because it's all about being in the right place at the right time to get the right decision. And I just believe that's the biggest thing in refereeing, is being in the right place at the right time.
And I think we won't go into the politics of everything, Lee, but I think certainly over the last decade, we'll just obviously stick with football, soccer, the profile of the referee on the field and the criticism, praise, whatever which way it comes, has enhanced that need for that referee to be absolutely spot on. Would you say that the earlier you can get into that at that early age, just refereeing, to get on that ladder to become that higher level referee, do you think that's a must to do that? And how do you provide that with Par 4? Say that young kid wants to come in just like a player would want to be Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi or Mia Hamm. That referee says, I want to be Lee Probert, right?
I hope he doesn't.
That, Lee.
I mean, the county FAs have got a fantastic way they're doing things. They've got core, the FA support, all the county FAs. So everything's all in place at the moment. So I believe that, I think the younger it's a bit like everything. The younger you start, the more opportunities and the more knowledge you can gain. Because like you say, you don't all of a sudden wake up in the morning and go, do you know what, I'm going to be a top sports person. You've got to work at it. You've got to be trained at it. And like you say, and I think the county FAs and the FA here in the UK are doing a fantastic job. We just got to try and let's get hopefully 29th of March 2021 we return to grassroots sport here, and we get the referees back out, because we've got to get learning again. We can't miss this time, because we've missed a season already, or half a season, and that half a season is learning. That could put someone back who's looking for promotion, could put him back a season. And you know what it's like. it's like a football team, isn't it? You're on a roll, and all of a sudden it stops, and you try and kick start again. You don't always get what you want. So I think that general sort of continuation of training and development, and the county FAs at the moment are trying so hard to do Zoom calls, keeping everyone motivated. So for us, I just think it's the case of, if we can try and help the county FAs, work with the FA, offer these training camps that we can put on. I think it's just, the more that we can help, then who knows, the more chance of referees that we could produce for the top level. I'm not saying that we've got all the answers, but I think deep down we can help develop that next generation of match officials.
Yeah, I think every organisation just needs that, that partnership to work alongside. And I know Par 4 sports do a tremendous work off the field, with the referee education. Hey, I'll stay on that, mate. I'll bring into playing side on it. When did you first, get involved in football, starting to play, and then what clicked in, says, I'm going to go referee, Lee? How did that pan out for you?
Well, I have to say, the last thing I ever wanted to do was be a ref. Did not want to be a ref. I didn't. I'm not going to lie, Richie. I didn't.
No, right.
It was the last thing that was on my mind. All I wanted to do as a kid was be a professional footballer. That's it.
Right.
And I lived on the Isle of Wight. Those that don't know, it's a small little island stuck on the bottom of Portsmouth and Southampton. It's only 26 miles wide, 15 miles depth. So it's a small little island. And as a kid, all I wanted to do was be a footballer. That's all I ever did. I used to go down the park with a mate after school. We'd be kicking around. And unfortunately, like many thousands of other kids that fall by the wayside, you either know you're going to be lucky enough or you're not. And obviously I was unlucky not to fall into that net of being a professional footballer. So it was my mum and dad, really, or more my dad, because I think my dad wanted to be a ref. And in those days, when he was growing up as a boy, he was in the Navy. And I think that he wanted to become a ref, and you had to either be a policeman or a solicitor or a high profile job role that in those days. And my dad was a milkman, so there was no way that he was going to end up refereeing football games when you needed to be a solicitor or a banker or whatever it was. So he sort of kept on and on and on. And it was like, Dad, I don't want to do it. I really don't want to be a ref. And then a family friend of ours, Philip Don, he was refereeing at the time, and he said, I'll give it a go, see what you think. And it's like, so every day I was coming home from school, and my dad was saying, what do you think? What do you think? Dad, just for a quiet life, all right, I'll have a go at it. If I don't like it, if I don't like it, I'll just jack it. And it was like, okay, go on then. So we made the call to the Isle of Wight Referees Association, as it was then, and just said, look, my boy wants to have a go at it. Can we do it? And I was still at school. So I passed my referee's exam. And I remember, I don't think he's no longer with us now, but my old PE teacher said to me one day, the school were playing another school in the afternoon. And he said, what lessons have you got? And I said, I've got double French. He said, listen, you ain't going to be no good at French. He said, but you might be pretty good at it. So he took me out of double French. He took the double French. And we went off a referee. And Richie, from there, my mum and dad were just constantly on the phone, getting me games on Saturday morning. I must have been doing 4 games a weekend. I'm probably looking as well at 48 hours. I do not know, because I was doing games galore, and it just became sort of enjoyable, if that makes sense. And never did I dream about the Premier League, and never did I dream about where I was going to go, because I was just a kid and just enjoyed what I did and lived on the Isle of Wight. And then all of a sudden things started to progress, and we had 3 classes. It was class 1, class 2 and class 3. So you start as a class 3 ref. I think you start at level 7 now if you're looking at adult football, I think is the way forward. But so I got my class 1 early, and then all of a sudden we had an inter-island games where teams from around different smaller islands came to the island, and I was refereeing all right, and people were sort of mentioning my name in small dispatches. So I was invited to Portsmouth to run a fitness test. A good friend, the very good friend as we've become now, Paul Scoble, said to me, what are you doing the weekend, Lee? I said, well, nothing really. I said, just probably go down the beach or do what. He said, do you fancy running a fitness test? Well, okay. He said, I can't guarantee anything, but see how you get on and we'll go from there. So got got my kit ready, got on the ferry, got across to Portsmouth, absolutely like really keen, 18, 19 years of age, ran this fitness test as hard as I could and got round this track thinking, if I get past this, then at least he'll may give me an opportunity to referee on the mainland. And then consequently, he said to me at the end of the day, he said, just to let you know, you've passed your fitness test. We're going to invite you to referee at the Hampshire League, which was another step away from the island then. So, and then it started to progress forward and into the Southern League. And then the journey just became an enjoyable, longer journey from there into the EFL.
So Lee, from do some reffing, no, doing some reffing, to then getting reffing off the island, going to obviously Portsmouth, doing all your testing, and working some games for the Hampshire FA. When did you get an inclination? Was it prior to that, or did it just evolve as you grew into refereeing to go, right, I'm going to take this all the way to the top? When did that set into you, Lee?
I don't think that ever did set in, Richie, to be fair. I mean, it was just a case of, I believe that if I just if I give everything I've got, if I give everything I've got every weekend, trained hard, performed as best I could, then this journey could take me wherever it could take me. And because there's no guarantees, is there, of what you're going to get? Because who knows, injury, whatever. You don't always get what you strive for. But it just all of a sudden started to pick up speed. And I worked hard on my fitness. I sort of carried on. Games were coming thick and fast. I was getting better quality games. I was being picked to do a cup final here, and all of a sudden you get a feeling that things are moving. But what you can't do is you can't get complacent, because the minute you get complacent, you know what it's like. It's just like wheels fall off and it's all over. So I just tried to keep as much as I could, feet on the floor. But hearts of hearts, when you realise then your name's being bandied about of where you could go to next, or you could be at the next level, you might make the next level. It was just making sure that I just took every game as I could and just enjoyed it as best I could. Because, like you say, it could have ended tomorrow, and all those dreams of wherever I got to was never going to be. But it's just a case of just making sure that you plot your way through, work as hard as you can, and just give it everything. Because who knows, you could end up like the journey I had.
Well, you know, I've got about 300 million questions, slight exaggeration. I've got about 200 million questions. Like, you know me by now anyway, mate. On that, you know, I could be asking, you know, worst changing room. What was your first game when you've walked out where there's, 3,000, 10,000 people? I would apologise to you and just say, I'm going to jump straight to that high-end stuff, because we all of a sudden we're at the high level in, you know, league football, Premier League, and then we're walking out at Wembley, mate, in the FA Cup final, and it fascinates me, the story. Congratulations, by the way. I think I've congratulated you several times anyway, but there's a good story in this, Lee, and it's a show of strength and character. But can you talk me through, and our followers as well, mate, that day at the FA Cup final, mate?
Absolutely. Other than my wedding day, because I've got to put that in, otherwise Mel will kill me.
Yeah.
There's just not a better fit. I mean, as a kid, all I used to do was watch the FA Cup final from the teams at the hotel, driving in, Wembley way, interviewing the ref on the old Wembley, then watching the game. Me and my mate will go watch the game wherever we were watching it, either my house or his. Go and put the two jumpers down and just replay the cup final.
Yeah.
But to have that phone call driving home, and I still remember it. Hello, Lee. Is that the 2014 FA Cup final referee am I speaking to? I mean, there's not a better feeling than getting that phone call and walking out at a full house of 90,000 at Wembley, beamed around the world in what I still believe is the most historic cup in the world. Everyone knows about the FA Cup. I don't think, as much as we've got the Champions League, Europa League, there's nothing like the FA Cup final. And like I say, to be part of it, to go down in history, to have the game that went 3-2 in extra time, 2-0 to Hull early doors. Hull at the cup final, I think they relegated that season from the Premier League, but to be 2-0 up at Wembley, just all your scripts, you think to yourself, well, Arsenal just keep the ball, perhaps they'll nick a goal and then hold off. Everything just went out the window. But yeah, I mean, it was surreal. I still look back now. I still play the video now and again, and it's just one of those fantastic feelings, Richie, that you said when I look back and you look back and say, no, Dad, I didn't want to be a ref. No, Mum, I'm not doing it. To have my mum in the stadium, to have my mum in the stadium was great, but sadly my dad wasn't there. But
in spirit though, Lee. In spirit, of course, right, mate?
Yeah, but the good thing is I've still got them, and Nike was superb. They gave me a pair of boots, and they allowed me. They stitched my dad's name in my boots.
Oh, so, brilliant, mate.
He wasn't able to referee at Wembley, but he certainly went on the turf.
And he took you around that field that day. Hey, mate, they always say, that Wembley turf, the historical Twin Towers, and the pitch. It saps you, does it?
Oh, let me tell you, it's the adrenaline. It's that adrenaline, it's that emotion. It's no different to a normal pitch that you run around on, all right? But it's the whole environment. It's that feel. It's the home of English football. It's just that grass, that pitch you're seeing now is just no different to what I would probably run on week in, week out. But it does sap you, and let me tell you, after 90 minutes, it's tough. But when you got to do another 30 on it, because that was even worse. But yeah, my legs were feeling it, and I just think that's a lot of that's adrenaline, emotion, and because, like I say, the pitch is no different.
No, and I mean, as kids, I've got a few years on you though, mate. I remember as kids and watching the FA Cup final, which is, with all due respect to all the others, like you mentioned, even the World Cup final, the FA Cup has always had that attraction to myself, and going through the 70s and the 80s, and you see those players. It's a tight game. It's not a blowout. It's 1-0, and everybody's going for a 2-1, and the socks to roll down. It does just sap you. How did you prepare yourself? I don't know whether you could do for that because of the just the whole environment. How did you prepare yourself in that changing room and then coming down? What were the things you were thinking about your game coming down that tunnel before we even started that first whistle, mate?
Well, the thing was, because I knew my team, Jake Collin, Mick Madonna, we worked together 3 or 4 games before. And my biggest thing for every game I referee was make sure we bring it to a safe conclusion and just make sure that the big decisions we give don't have an impact on the game. And that's all I did for all my refereeing games, was just make sure. So when Jake and I were together with Mick, it was like, okay, let's just build a team, let's build together, get on my wavelength, because I hadn't worked with them before, because I was in a different team. So all of a sudden, they've gone from working in their team into the way that I do things, maybe a little bit different to who they work with. So it was that building and gelling that team together, just making sure that we were all focused on the job in hand, because FA Cup final, Premier League, whatever, the game is no different. Okay, we kept saying the game's no different. We just got to make sure that everything's the same. We prepare the same. I played the same playlist. It wasn't the best music in the world, but I played the same playlist from in the PL games we did and up to the cup final. And it was just making sure that we were all focused on what we had to do, is to make sure that we brought that game to a safe conclusion. And if there was a big match-changing decision, we got it right. And that's all I kept saying to the lads is, there's going to be decisions we're going to make that's going to be thing, but just make sure that if there is a big decision to make, like we do in any game, we make sure we get it right. And we don't, and it's not one of those that if we can't get it right, we can't afford to get it wrong. So there was a lot of pressure on us, and you walk out of Wembley, we meet royalty, the red carpet's there, the national anthem's going. That wasn't the normal what we're used to on a Saturday afternoon. We know the difference, but it was all the added extra pressure that all you wanted to do is get the game going. All I wanted to do was get the game going. Yeah, it's lovely, all the bits to go with it, fantastic, but it was 90 minutes of I could control as best I could that 90 minutes. I couldn't control what was going on outside of that environment. And that was the hardest bit to do, is all the bits, all the nicey bits, but really deep down, all I want to do was get the game going and almost get it finished safely.
But did it go in a flash? It's a question I've got to ask. You know, a lot of people say, "Oh, just went in a flash," or was it just you know a 2-hour movie, 2.5-hour movie for you that you got to sit through? You know, was it? How did that your emotions on that one? Your thoughts? Was it quick or you know?
All I remember saying to the boy was, "Are you ready? Let's really enjoy this." And I have to say, if that was an hour and a half or nearly 2 hours of football, it went within seconds. It just went so quick, because you're so focused on your job and getting about, making sure you didn't have time to switch off. And we don't switch off in football anyway, because if you switch off, but there is times when you can have a breather. But at the cup final, it's the biggest thing. You want it to be right. I didn't have time for a breather, and it just went so quickly. And when I look back and people say to me, what's it like? And I said, you know what? I can't remember. I've got bits of it. There's bits that I remember, but the whole 90 minutes plus extra time just went so quickly. I wish I could do it again. Probably not, because I've got all of those fantastic feelings that I have, all the memories, that it probably wouldn't be the same again.
At what moment, Lee, did you, I don't know, changing room, drive home, getting home, having a beer after, whatever. At what stage did your day finish and you just go?
That was not long after picking up the medal, straight back into the change rooms. And then what the FA do then is they take you to for a meal, where we go back with all the girls and the wives. So we got back to the restaurant because it was extra time. We weren't able to it was cutting into the night because we were already 5:30 kickoff, so it was running late. But it was literally into the people carrier, tie off, jacket off. And the good thing was there was a couple of beers in the back of the people carrier, and we just got on it and had a good night, had a fantastic night, to be honest, because everyone was happy. It seemed to go okay, and there was no real issues. So we had a good few beers that night. I got up in the morning and I drove home with Mel, and we drove back along from London back to home. And it didn't really sink in that I'd refereed the cup final, probably for a good 3 or 4 days after.
Have you watched it again?
No.
Do you still? You never watched it, mate?
No, I've not. I've got a video that I use for my presentations when I talk to the next generation of refs about what it's like. And that's only like a 3.5 minute. But no, I've not fully watched it back. I should do, really. I mean, but I've got all the feelings and I've got all the emotions and I've got all the memories in my memory bank in my head.
Lee, if you did watch it, right? Question: Would you pick it apart?
Yeah,
would you pick your performance apart, mate?
That's probably why I don't want to watch it, because
no. You had a good one. I'll tell you that. You had a good one. You had a good one.
Because the thing is, I'll watch it and I'll go, Lee, what did you do that for? Why did you move there? And because that's what I'm so used to doing, is I'll look at a performance and I'll referee however many games a week, and we'd get sent a DVD. I would always watch my game back and think, why did I do that? Why did I miss that? Because I did, and I don't want to do that in the cup final, because I want to live in memories of like thinking, well, okay, hopefully it's gone all right, because I know for a fact that I will be so self-critical, and I'll look at it and go, Lee, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done this. So yeah, perhaps it's not a good idea.
So, hey mate, you've had the day. Do you assess yourself without looking at the videos? Because sometimes it's just best left alone anyway, regardless. But you've had a good game. Did you feel you've had a good game? You've got the job done. There's no reason for that, and I'm going to keep that as my memory until, you know, forever.
I think anybody that doesn't self-analyze their own performances will never get to where they want to get to, and sometimes you're your own worst critic, because people say to me, it's gone all right, you've done really, really well. Deep down, you know that if you could have done better, I'd be kicking myself, because I should have done it on the pitch, because I don't want to come off that pitch thinking I should have done that. Because if you do that, you haven't really given it your all.
Right.
And I was always very self-critical, where I'd look at something and go, yeah, I could have done better there. And when I look after my operation and after my injury, I was lucky enough to have 2 more years, and it got harder. And I look at some of my games now and facial expressions. I'm not sure if that was pain I was seeing, but it wasn't the normal joyful, smiley sort of work. I don't know. It's just when I look at it now, perhaps it was right that medical grounds I did what I did and took the advice to finish, but I didn't want to finish.
No, I don't think anybody ever does. But there comes a time when it's either a self decision on your performance and your athletic ability, or, you know, injury. Lee, top man. Par 4 Sports, doing great things. You're giving back, playing a cup final, let alone officiate it. You've walked on the red carpet, mate. Shook hands with royalty. That's not bad, mate. Never happened to me. Top man. I know we'll do a lot more. We'll do a lot more talking over the phone as we enhance our things that we're doing. So I just want to wish you good luck. In that, anything Sport in Denver can do to help, my friend, you know, we're always available. You owe me a meat pie when I'm over after COVID, mate. That's a done deal. But I can't let you go without doing a quick fire 5 questions, and I've got a couple of corkers for you, mate. So, right, this is a 2-part one. Food. I always have to do. Anthony tells me I've got to do food every time, so I try and tweak it a little bit. But I'm gonna. It's a 2-part one, mate. What's your favourite dish? Whether you're at home or out to a restaurant, what's your go-to favourite dish, mate?
That's quite difficult, because I'm a bit of a sucker, because I do like my food. I do like the Mediterranean. Yeah, I know, but that's quite hard, because I do like a spaghetti bolognese, I have to say. I do like a spaghetti bolognese, so then I'll make it simple. Let's stick with that one.
Good lad, thanks. Now, the second part of it. What food have you sampled before where you've gone up and gone, I don't know about that, but it's surprised you and you've gone, that's all right, actually?
Okay, I was lucky enough to go to Japan, and I refereed there on an exchange. I'm not a lover of fish soup. All right, I don't mind fish when you can scrape it off the bone, or if it's battered at a fish and chip shop. I don't mind that. But when I was sat in this Japanese restaurant and all of a sudden this fish head comes floating to the top, that didn't really look too appetizing. All right, and I have to say, I sort of sat there and thinking, I just really cannot. I just can't. But I have credit where credit's due. I did try it, and other than the eye that was floated around with the head, the fish soup was absolutely amazing. So, yeah, that's probably the one I've looked at and gone, oh no, thanks. And then I was quite shocked.
Never judge a suit by its bowl, right?
Especially when a fish head comes up with his big eye hanging out. It's like, whoa, what's that?
Whole new ball game, mate. That. Hey, as a kid, you've watched football growing up, watched soccer growing up. What team do you support, Lee?
As a kid, I had a little soft. When I went to school, my first bag. This is how ironic it is. I was given an Arsenal bag, and it was the old-fashioned nylon bag. A German friend that played football for my dad bought me a bag. It was an Arsenal bag, so I can't say I would ever support. I mean, I followed the results of Arsenal and stuff, and then all of a sudden you get into refereeing, and then you can't really have a team. But now I just enjoy sort of following most teams and looking after a lot of the EFL and Premier League teams. I just want everyone that I look after now to do well, because the better they do, the more chance we can get away of going abroad and looking after their pre-season and winter break. So yeah, I mean, I just enjoy watching most teams, and I've not really got one that says, "Oh yeah, that's my team." So
I'll stick with the Arsenal bag, mate. That's all right. That's all right.
It's a bit worrying the Arsenal in the FA Cup final, though, isn't it?
Well, I was just to say, football, full circle, right? There you go. I mean, you can't explain how things turn itself round and come around in soccer, in football. If there's any game that you could, I'm going to go in the 70s or the 80s. If there's any game that you would have put yourself in there for that game, knowing the result, knowing the team, whether it's a World Cup, an FA Cup, the old First Division, put yourself in a game in any match on the planet, mate.
Okay, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to remember the night that Arsenal won the league at Anfield, and that game had so much on it that if there was one game you'd probably want to ref at Anfield, that would probably be it. That's the one that sticks out.
Was that Michael Thomas winning goal also? Was that Michael Thomas's goal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it had everything, didn't it? It had Liverpool had to win, Arsenal needed however many goals they needed, and whatever it was. But that's the one when you look back and you go, oh, I wonder what that would have been like to be in that environment.
Everything on the line. I fancy that one.
Yeah, I'd have had a go at that one.
I'll put your name down anyway, mate. So what would the advice be? The biggest advice to a young person, male or female, starting to think at 11, 12, maybe 13, that I actually want to referee. It's for me. What advice would you give them, Lee?
I think the biggest thing there is to get in touch with either your county football association or your local football association and get a mentor, get a coach, get whatever it might be, someone to not look after you, but to help you through your journey that you're going to, because as a kid it's tough, because there is other outside interests that you want to do. Your mates are kicking a ball around and you're blowing a whistle, where it's just have a mentor, have someone to go to, have a close friend, I don't know, I mean, my mum and dad were superb. I mean, I could speak to my dad and my mum about most things. So having them on me as a sort of a mentor coach thing, that's the biggest thing I would. But enjoy it, because it is enjoyable. And without a ref, the game isn't a spectacle, because you can't please 22 players or however many you've got each side. So without a ref, you don't listen. We're all good. We're only human. We don't make errors because that's what we decide to do. We don't go out purposely and say, oh, we're going to ruin the football game. We go out there to do our best, and do I believe that we're doing a great job. And those young kids that want to have a go at it, get out there and really give it a go, because the world's your oyster now. The world is your oyster. You've got so many ladies football, girls football, adults. There's just every opportunity to develop, learn, and jump on that journey to wherever that might take you.
I think that's that's excellent advice. And my last question to you, whether you've refed in it or you might have even mentioned it with the historical Twin Towers and the old Wembley or anything, so I'm not going to let you pick that one. Stadium, whether it's one of the new ones or the old ones, mate. It could be Moss Rose, Macclesfield Town if you like it. It doesn't bother me. Stadium that gave you whatever those those emotions, everything's running wild. Could be Rockingham Road, Kettering, mate. It could be whatever. Which one sort of did you sort of fall in love with, mate? I like it here. This is great.
I don't fall in love with. I mean, there's one that sticks to mind where Istanbul, Galatasaray Stadium, very, very hostile for an environment if they're not too keen. Lucky enough to go to Galatasaray Real Madrid in the Champions League, and the amount of every time Real Madrid got the ball, the whistles were deafening. I mean, we couldn't. We had earpieces at the time, and we could hardly hear ourselves speak over the earpiece because that. I mean, that's a great atmosphere to be in, but one that really made you on your money. The Bernabeu, Real Madrid was very, very nice. And then, of course, you've got so many fantastic stadiums now in the Premier League. There's not many there that you can't say isn't state of the art. Where would I go? It's quite difficult because I enjoyed all of them. And I tell you what I really, really like, Everton. And I tell you why Everton is that old-fashioned stadium. I know they've got some great plans for a new stadium now, which looks amazing. But and it's a bit like the West Ham ground as well. I enjoy going to the old bowling ground because you'd come out and up the steps and you'd come out with all the bubbles going off and everyone singing on. So yeah, probably West Ham, the old-fashioned stadiums, if that makes sense, because the new ones are so nice. The new ones now are so nice. They're so clinical. They're beautifully structured. It's that old-fashioned stadium which sticks into at the minute. When I look back, you probably look at Everton, you look at the old bowling ground at West Ham. So they're the two.
Yeah. I look back and think of the old Dell or the old baseball ground, Derby, Martin, just things like that. So that's part of the makeup of the game. You've been a massive part of the makeup of this show, Lee. We will chat again, no doubt, if you'll allow me to, mate. And would you be thank you. Would you be kind enough to leave all our followers and viewers with one final message? This is Richie English signing off. Lee, we'll catch up another time. Thank you.
Just for me, everyone, just stay safe. Let's get out of this pandemic that the world's in, and let's hope we can get back to some sort of normality very soon. Stay safe and take care. All the best. Thanks for watching.
Yes, it's from the floor, play the ball off the ground, and Aidan.